Hello everyone, it's the Tutor here. Today I'm bringing you a very special video. As you can see in front of me, I have 6 of the Dragon Shield matte sleeves. And you might be asking yourself, hey Tutor, why do you have so many sleeves? Well, today I'm actually going to be unboxing and kind of going through each and every single one of the Tarkir Dragonstorm Precons. Now, as you guys know, there's 5 of them, and that's quite a lot for a set. And you might be asking yourself, why are there so many precons? Well, the answer to that is simple. You have 5 different clans in Tarkir, and each of the precons represents each of the clans. You have the Abzan, Jeskai, Sultai, Mardu, and Temur. I also have 5 different boxes for my commander decks, so I'll just briefly show those to you. And today I thought it'd be fun to go through each of the decks one by one, choose what sleeves might be the best fit, and the deck box that might be the best fit for each of the precons. So I'll talk briefly about the clans during each of the respective videos. Each of the precons will be its own separate video. So currently, just so you know, Dragon Shield, I do not get sponsored by them, but I do love their product, and I hope one day to be sponsored by them. So I'm kind of going through these one by one. You have the matte, which you can see right here. It's kind of a cool sandy color. You have the blue silver, which is the anniversary special edition one. And right here you can kind of see it. There you go. I got all these off Amazon, as well as the precons off Amazon. This is Peach, lovely little guy in front. You can see, like right there, nice peach colored. And this is Snow. As you can imagine, this is a white one. I got the precons off Amazon, fortunately, before they sold out, and for a good price total. And if you do purchase off Amazon, I highly recommend that you purchase from Amazon themselves, as they are a first-party seller and an authorized seller. So every single product you receive will be genuine, and it should come in pretty good condition. And I double-checked all the precons beforehand to make sure they're in a good condition. So I'm going to be opening them up, and I hope you guys like it. All right, everyone. So this is the first part to the 5-part series, and I'm going to go through and pick one of the precons, and we'll see which one that is. I'll talk a little bit about the precon and the clan, of course, and decide which of the sleeves is best for that precon and also for the deck. So I'm just going to go through this, and all right, this is the first one I picked out from the box. This is the Temur Roar. This is, as you can see, a green, blue, and red deck. And so this represents the Temur, and that's their clan logo. So in this precon, you'll harness the Fury of the Dragons with Ureni of the Unwritten, and then you'll also get Eshki Temur's Roar. So take a look quickly at like what it looks like, if you care. All right, so let's see what sleeves might be the best for this. You have Ureni, which is a really cool, and I think with them being kind of foresty, I think this is the best deck box to go with them. But what would be the best kind of color? Let's take a look. Honestly, it might be this one right here, because I mean, my commander is going to be the dragon for all of them. It may not be the most optimal, but I really do enjoy the just obviously dragons. So I think I'll go with this one right here. So I'm going to set these aside for now and go through these. I do not know every single card that's in the precon. I think it would be just fun to go through them one by one and talk about them. So without further ado, let's open this up. Now, it also comes with its little collector booster sample pack. It comes with its own unique deck box, which I will not be using just because I have my own, obviously. So I'll just kind of toss that aside. And of course, you got +1/+1 tokens. I just use dice. But yeah, so there's that. And of course, like I said, the +1/+1s. And inside you'll also see a commander deck and how to play the deck, commander rules, so on and so forth. And then it talks about Ureni, and then Eshki, who's the clan leader. I did hear Eshki is actually pretty good, but we're using the dragon because dragons are cool. Alright. I will, of course, be sleeving the lands off screen because I feel like you guys don't care about me sleeving the lands. And there's not really much to talk about when it comes to the lands, so we'll just kind of get into the meat and potatoes of each and every single deck. Alright. Well, first, I'm sure you guys want to see me open the collector pack. Got Quarcy Revenant, which has a special art. And you have Sonic Shrieker with that awesome looking border. I love the border. I've talked about that in all of my pack videos. So we'll set those aside for now. We'll get the sleeves out. And like I said in my previous videos, I'm not sponsored by Dragon Shield, but I do love their sleeves. I mean, look at that beautiful color. It does have a nice feel, especially when you shuffle and so on and so forth. And here's Ureni. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, there we go. So here is the Commander deck. This is the Temur. And with the Temur, it's typically green, red, and blue, and it's associated with savagery, resilience, and typically just, the power of nature. So we'll kind of go through them one by one, just talk about them briefly. This is, of course, Ureni. I'm actually going to get a different sleeve out. For now, I'll just put this in just a normal red sleeve. This one isn't Dragon Shield, but just so it can stand out and make it easier to find when it's in the deck box. All right. So let's take a look at Ureni quickly. Ureni is of the Unwritten is a 7/7 7-cost card, which requires 4 colorless, 1 green, blue, red, and has flying trample. Whenever Ureni enters or attacks, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a dragon creature card from among them onto the battlefield, and you put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So obviously this has a lot of potential to do some really big things once it summons or attacks, especially if you have things like haste boots. All right, now, since I don't ever have any plans to make her into the actual commander, I'll put her in the normal sleeve and everything else going forward. So with this card, Eshki's Temur Roar, 3-cost card. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Eshki. If that spell's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. If that spell's power is 6 or greater, Eshki deals damage equal to Eshki's power to each opponent. So that's obviously pretty good, especially since you do commander damage to them. Deceptive Frostkite. This is a 1/1 creature, flying. You may have this creature enter as a copy of a creature you control with power 4 or greater, except it's a dragon in addition to its other types, and it has flying. Now, as you can see, a theme in this, you'll have a bunch of different dragons. Because right here we have another one already, which is a 6/6, 6-cost color. It's Hammerhead Tyrant. creature, flying. Whenever you cast a spell, return up to one target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that spell's mana value to its owner's hand. Then Will of the Temur. It's a sorcery. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast the spell, you may choose both instead. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent, except it's a 4/4 dragon creature with flying in addition to its other types. And target player draws cards equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control. Actually, I'm going to just flip this upside down like this. And rotate it. Makes things a little bit easier for me. Parapet Thresher. Flying. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to an opponent, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You can destroy a target artifact that opponent controls. This creature deals 4 damage to each other opponent, or you can exile the top card of the library, and you may play it this turn. So obviously a pretty good card, all things considered, and of course since they're dragons, they have flying. We've got a Thundermane Dragon. Flying creature 4/4. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells with power 4 or greater from the top of your library. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until the end of turn. Got the Zenith's Festival here. And you can pay any amount of mana and 2 reds. To exile the top 10 or top X cards of your library, you may play them until the end of your next turn. You can also harmonize, and you may cast this card from your graveyard for its harmonized cost. And you may tap a creature you control to reduce that cost by any amount of generic mana equal to its power. Then you can exile the spell. And look at that art, love that. Just as an FYI, I'm going to be cutting this video at 15 minutes and then just starting another video. Makes it easier to transfer that way and to edit later. All right, you've got Broodcaller Scourge. It's a 7 cost, 5/7, flying creature dragon. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to that damage from your hand onto the battlefield. So as you can see, there's green, reds, and blues, obviously to match kind of the Temur's kind of play style. Become the Avalanche. You can draw a card for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. That's obviously going to be quite a few card draws considering you have a bunch of dragons. Then creatures you control gain +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So I'm sure there's going to be some land drawing or some card draw in here. Like I said, I haven't looked through all of the cards in the Precon, but since they're all dragons, I was a sucker and got it. Alright, so this one's going to be Kaiga, the Tide Star, legendary creature, dragon spirit, flying. When Kaiga dies, gain control of target creature. So that's pretty good. Reflections of Littjara. As this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell, and obviously you'll be choosing dragons. Okay. Got Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. It's a legendary creature, dragon spirit, that costs 4 mana. Fly and Trample, when it dies, you can choose one, which is exile the top 2 cards of your library, and until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards, create 3 treasure tokens. So it depends on if you have a lot of lands or not available. If you don't, you'll probably just go with the treasure tokens. Of course, we have the Blasphemous Act, which is one of the most common cards you can actually see. Sorry about that. In just Commander in general, as you can view those top 10 cards in one of my videos, which I'll link in the description. Blasphemous Act, it's a 9-cost card. However, you can reduce the spell by 1 for each creature on the battlefield, and basically it's a board wipe. It deals 13 damage to each creature, including your own. But I mean, if you're being overwhelmed, that's a good trade-off. This will be the last one I do until I do a little bit of a cut. This is Chaos Warp. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. We're back from that quick cutaway. Next we have Dragon Master Outcast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token. So obviously it's a really good card, especially if you can keep on getting those tokens. You just have to make sure it survives 1 turn, and since it has 1 health, it might be a little bit difficult, but I mean, it is just a 1-cost card, but it has a potential to do so much more. Got Gardak of the Crown Sturge, which is a legendary creature. Flying, Gardak can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. Glorybringer, Flying Haste. You may exert this creature as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls, and exerted creature won't untap during your next untap step. Lathis Queen Dragon, legendary creature, 6-cost dragon, flying. Whenever another non-token dragon you control enters, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying, and you can pay 1 colorless, 1 red for your dragons to get +1/+0 until the end of turn. So if you just have a little bit of extra mana to use, you can use that. But of course, the bread and butter of this card is the create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying when another dragon enters. Got Hellkite Corsair, which is a 6/5, 6-cost dragon. Flying, when this creature enters, you may put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step, and of course that's just a very powerful card because you get to use its ability upon entering. And I just want to take a look at something quickly. Let's just take a look. That's the card name. For example, Tiamat, that'd be a powerful team up with Tiamat, because when Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you can search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names, and then you can put them into your hand and shuffle. I mean, they're powerful cards. Leyline Tyrant. Flying, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and end phases, and as phases end. When this creature dies, you may pay any amount of red. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. So it's a nice way to kind of get rid of some creatures. Let's go Nesting Dragon. Flying landfall, whenever a land you control enters, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender, and when this token dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying, and the ability by paying 1 red, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Then you have this card right here, which I believe is a reprint, if I'm correct about that. This is Norgi Draco Zealot. Legendary creature, Cobalt Shaman. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I'm just struggling here. There we go. Whenever Nogi attacks, if you control 3 or more dragons until end of turn, Nogi becomes a dragon with base power and toughness 5/5 and gains flying. Basically, at that point, I feel like you're probably winning the game if you have that many dragons out. Opportunistic Dragon. It's a 4/3 with flying. Whenever this creature enters, choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. For as long as this creature remains on the battlefield, gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. Got Scourge of the Throne. Flying, Dethrone. And Dethrone is whenever this creature attacks that player with the most life or tied for most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever this creature attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for the most life, and tap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. So I mean, that's very, very good, obviously. Always being able to have an extra combat phase is very powerful. Hellkite. And this creature reads Riot. Riot allows you to put a +1/+1 counter on it, or haste when it enters the field. And flying, you can spend 4 mana, and this creature deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Activate only if this creature has a +1/+1 counter on it, so it kind of costs a lot for a small effect. But I mean, when you have unspent mana that needs to be used, why not use it? Split Flame deals 4 damage to target creature. Whenever a dragon you control enters, you may pay 1. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a very easy way to be able to just kind of control a field. Storm's Wrath. Storm's Wrath deals 4 damage to each creature and planeswalker. Taurian Mauler, which is a shapeshifter, which can count as a dragon. Well, it has the changeling ability. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Stormbreath Dragon. Creature dragon, flying, haste, protection from white. Monstrosity 3. If this creature is monstrous, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it and it becomes monstrous. When this creature becomes monstrous, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards in that player's hands. So, as red does best, it's, of course, just doing a lot of ooga booga damage to people. I apologize about the dogs. Territorial Hellkite. Flying haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random that this creature didn't attack during your last combat. This creature attacks that player. This combat if able. If you can't choose an opponent this way, tap this creature. Tap this creature. Thunderbreak Regnant. It's a 4/4/4 cost dragon flying. Whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, this creature deals 3 damage to that player. So just kind of a anti-target card, hinders them a little bit. Vengeful Ancestor. Flying, whenever this creature enters or attacks, you can go to target creature, and goad means until your next turn, that creature attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. Whenever a goaded creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to its controller. Super impressive card. And since it has flying, it's usually able to go through pretty easily. Varric's Bladewing. Legendary creature dragon, 4 cost 4/4 with kicker 3. You may pay an additional 3 as you cast a spell. And when it is kicked, you get to create a legendary 4/4 dragon creature token with flying. Alright, now it looks like we're getting back into green a little bit. And then this one is going to be Frontier Siege. As this enchantment enters, choose cons or dragons. Cons at the beginning of each of your main phases add 2 green. Dragons, whenever a creature you control with flying enters, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. Savala Stampede. Consul's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for wild or free. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card for each wild vote. Put those creature cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest into your library. You may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield for each free vote. There we go. And we're now into the our multicolored cards. Tarkir World Render, which is a legendary creature, 6/4, with Flying Trample. Whenever a dragon you control enters, it gains double strike until end of turn. Dragon Lord Tarkir is a 7 cost 8/8 legendary elder dragon. Flying Trample. Whenever Dragon Lord Tarkir enters, it deals 5 damage divided as you choose among other number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponent controls. So that's pretty good. Harbinger of the Hunt. It's a 5 cost 5/3 with flying, and you can spend 2 colors and 1 red to deal 1 damage to each creature without flying, or 2 colors and 1 green to deal 1 damage to each creature with flying. It's a little bit of versatility then. Then you got Sarkhan Soul Flame, which isn't exactly the same Tarkhan, or Sarkhan, sorry, from the set. This one reads, dragon spells you cast cost 1 less. That's always nice to have in a dragon deck, as you can imagine. Whenever a dragon you control enters, you may have a Sarkhan become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, and it's legendary in addition to its other types. Alright. So we're almost to the land now. We're on enchantments. Enchantment, creatures you control have haste. Whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, you may draw a card. Obviously, most creatures are going to have in this deck more than 4 power, so that's a pretty nice benefit just to have. Dragon's Horde artifact. Whenever a dragon you control enters, put a gold counter on this artifact. You can remove a gold counter from this artifact to draw a card, or you can add 1 mana of any color. So basically it's just like a little bit of a fancier arcane signet, because it has that second ability to add 1 mana of any color, plus an additional effect if you wanted to. Steel Hellkite. Fine, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Or you can spend any amount of mana to destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller was dealt combat damage by this creature this turn. You can only activate once per turn, but it's a 6-cost colorless. Alright, so now we're going to go into the lands right after this quick cutaway. Alright, we're back and we have all the lands. I'll do these off camera because I'm sure you guys don't care too much about the lands. But there's quite a few lands. I'll just kind of go through them one at a time and just kind of talk about my thoughts about the Precon. Obviously, it's super fun. It's dragon themed, and I really like just dragon themed cards. This is a land specifically for dragons, which is pretty nice. I love Urani. I love all the different kind of dragons that you can find in this set. And these are pretty common lands. And there's quite a few lands in this one. Oh, looks like there's actually some enchantments and stuff still in here. That's fine. I guess we'll wing it and keep on going. Dragon Tempest, enchantment. Whenever a creature you control flying enters, it gains haste until end of turn. Whenever a dragon you control enters, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of dragons you control. And I was wondering to myself, I was like, there's not really too many enchantments, but that explains it a little bit. And then this is Breaching Dragonstorm, which I believe is found in Tarkir Dragonstorm. It's a 5-cost enchantment. When this enchantment enters, you can exile a card from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast it without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 8 or less. If you don't, put that card into your hand, and I'm pretty sure most of the cards are 8 or less, honestly, even though they're dragons, because I mean 8 mana is quite a bit. When a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand, so you can keep on using this ability. So that's pretty nice. And we'll go through more lands. And of course, there was just one, but here's this set's fancy arcane signet, which, as you guys know from my video, one of the most common cards you can see, apart from one other one, which is next actually. You can add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And since we have Urumi here, that's, you know, quite beneficial to have, because you can add a green, blue, or a red. And of course, this is Soul Rain, which is the #1 card you see in, I think, what was it, like 80% of decks, 84% of decks, which makes sense. I mean, you can cast it and it's already plus positive because you can use it right away and just get 2. So, and this is what the Soul Rain looks like for this set. Then command towers usually have a unique card each, or unique design each set. Stormshreak Feral. This is also in Tarkir. Since I opened so much Tarkir, I know what's kind of what. Maybe with a couple mistakes here and there, but that is okay. All right. I forgot to say what that card does, so just give me a second. Flying Haste, you can spend 1 color, so when red, this creature gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. Or you can cast it as a sorcery, discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. And then this one, Encroaching Dragonstorm, which is an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. So this is how you can get a lot of land on the field very, very quickly. Okay, we're going into some instants then. This is Rabid Hybridization, which is instant. Destroy target creature if can't be regenerated. This creature's controller creates a 3, or that creature's controller creates a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token. This is essentially the Beast Within, but a little different. Next we have Draconic's Lore. This card costs 2 less to cast if you control a dragon, which you most likely will have. So for 3 mana, you can draw 3 cards. Nice. Next is Reality Shift, which is an instant. Exile target creature, its controller manifests the top 2 cards of their library. Manifest is basically when that player puts the top card of the library onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature. If it's a creature card, it can be turned face up any time for its mana cost. Dragonlord Servant. Dragon spells that you cast cost 1 less. Nice and simple. It's a 2-cost card. Very nice. Rapicious Dragon, 5 cost, 3/3. When this creature enters, create 2 treasure tokens. So basically it's a 3/3. 3. And a little bit funny text at the bottom. Surely I won't notice if I take Theria, the Sky's Last Words. Alright. Whirlwick Stormbrood, which is a creature, 4/3. For 5. Flash, flying, you may cast sorcery spells and dragon spells as though they had flash, which is pretty good. Or you can do this, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Pretty nice. Being able to cast dragons at flash speed can be very beneficial. Now, as you guys remember, just a little bit ago, I talked about a card that was just like Beast Within. Well, we have Beast Within here too, of course. I believe Beast Within is also a very popular card in the Commander format. I think it is in the top 10. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Elemental Bond. Whenever a creature you control with power 3 or greater enters, draw a card, which you will do quite often. I believe there was a different one that was just like 4 or greater, you draw a card. We got Farseek next. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Get some more lands on the field. Speaking of lands, we got more lands. Evolving Wilds, which is specific to, I think, Tarkir. Sacrifice this land, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Nice. Go down his reach. More ways to get lands. We got a lot of artifacts next. So this one is Migration Path. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, which is pretty nice. Fellow or Stone, which is 2-cost artifact. Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. So hopefully you're fighting someone with red, blue, or green, so you can get your commander out much easier. Talisman of Creativity, which allows you to do a get a colorless for free, or you can pay 1 life to get a blue or a red. A different talisman, Talisman of Impulse, which does the same thing, except that you can do it for red or green. More land, and then I believe these are just going to be your lands. So let's kind of go through the lands just one time, just so you can kind of see them. Mal's Command Tower. So you can kind of see the art and what it does. So let me know what you guys think of this precon. What would you substitute in to make it a little better? I'm not going to make one of those videos where you can do that. Currently don't have the time for that. But feel free to put that in the comments section, or any channels you think might be really good for that kind of information. Use some Treasure tokens, dragons, copies, dragon eggs, frog lizard. And a little bit of a card right there. And let's just do the other side quickly. Copy, treasure, beast, dragon, dragon, thing, treasure, and beast. So that's every single card. I'll sleeve these off screen, and we'll kind of talk about what deck box I think I should use. Hey everyone, the Tutor here, back again, after sleeving every single card in the Temur Precon. Alright, so all the lands are there, and I've decided on what deck box I want, and as my suspicion confirmed, it's going to be this green one. So at first I was like, there's not too many like blue cards like in this deck, so maybe I chose wrong when it came to like the blue sleeves, but nay. I thought about something. This is a blue, red, and green commander, and I actually took this sleeve off of him. I'm not the biggest fan of the quality of it, so I actually opened up the, what is it, right here, the peach Dragon Shield sleeve to replace with this. It kind of has a red tint to it. So I basically have a green, red, and blue theme going on with this commander, and that's what it costs, green, red, and blue. So I think it kind of just fits very, very well. So there's Irene in the deck box. So there's the green and the red sleeve for the commander. And we'll do this. I do like these deck boxes. They're relatively cheap, all things considered. They might cost like 10, 12 bucks. And you get to see like what commander you have. They don't have to use like tape or anything and write on it, just to show you what it has. All right, so I'm actually gonna take this right here. Just put it right here. And right here is where all my tokens are gonna go. All right, so thank you guys for watching this slow video, just showcasing every single card in the precon for this Temur Precon. And you have any questions, comments, anything, feel free to put that down below, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It helps my channel out a lot. And let me know what you guys think about this precon. You guys have a good one. Peace.